Okay, guys, guess who's back? It's Stray Kid is back with another video. And we're on YouTube, not playing in Roblox, maybe in the next video. But we're going to be reacting to this guy, Zack D Films. Zack D Films, alright? He makes some funny videos and some educational videos. Like, educational, right? Further to do, just subscribe, just like I subscribed. Go ahead and subscribe to him, yo. So let's look at his shorts, okay?
Her son was missing, and the police were desperate to find him. And 5 months later, police finally picked him up. Almost...
What? In Chicago? From Los Angeles, California. Like, Chicago is so far from California in Los Angeles.
2,000 miles away.
Oh
but when
my
he got
God.
home, his mother claimed it wasn't her son. Regardless, the police
Wait, what? I don't understand here. Wait, what?
convinced her to take him anyway, so they could close the case. 3 weeks later, she showed them dental records that proved the boy was a stranger, but they still wouldn't listen. Instead, they said she was a bad mother and threw her in a psych ward. But the boy finally admitted he was a fraud who just wanted a free trip to Hollywood, and the woman's real son was never found. Her son was missing, and the police...
That's crazy. It's a bot, bro. Wait, is this a bot? Okay, go ahead and blur that. Okay.
Her son, when he tried pulling the master sword off his back, it got stuck.
By the way, that was something inappropriate for YouTube. Okay, let's watch this.
When he tried pulling the master sword off his back, it got stuck.
Oh,
and the cosplayer could not get it out. And this revealed a problem with Zelda's animation.
Zelda! Wait, I know Zelda.
Can pull the sword out in one smooth motion, but if you slow it down, the sword clips through the sheath slightly. So to fix this, Smash Bros animated Link to pull the sheath downward with his other hand as he pulled out the sword. But even this wasn't quite enough, meaning the animation still cheats a little. When he tried the implant was inserted under his skin before salt water was injected to stretch the skin around it. Then the implant was removed and the plastic ear was placed in. His body grew new blood vessels into the ear, making it a living part of his arm. Next, a tiny microphone was installed inside to pick up sound. But after the site got infected, it was removed. Now he plans to grow an earlobe with his own cells and install a new microphone with Wi-Fi, which would let people listen through his third ear. The implant was inserted under his skin.
That's crazy!
If you forgot where you parked, you would hit a button on your car key and an LED light would shoot out of your car roof while a mini siren started blasting. If you paid for premium, a drone would launch from your trunk.
What? That's weird. Yo.
Find you in the parking lot and escort you back like you're being rescued. And if you still couldn't find it, the hydraulic system in your tires would activate, making the car bounce up and down to be more visible. Flares would also be launched from the roof, letting you and the police locate your vehicle.
Okay, how can you even get that on your car, yo? That would be so cool.
If you forgot, slice a dozen cuts into a wooden plank, starting 1 foot from the end. But stop just before they go all the way through. Then do the same a foot from the other end. This leaves a thin outer layer still holding everything together. Next, cover the cuts in wood glue and press them against a curved form, bending the wood. The cuts will close in on themselves, forming the 2 curved angles of a stylish side table.
Whoa! That's actually fascinating. That's cool, yo. That's actually cool.
The damaged cash is shredded into thin green strips.
Why would you do that to cash, bro? Okay, wait.
The damaged cash is shredded into thin...
Can't you give damaged cash? Does it not still work? The damaged cash. And by the way, I'm in Mauritius right now, so yeah, I'm in Mauritius right now, bro. It was raining a lot, by the way, but now it's not
green
that much.
strips. It's then compacted, loaded
Whoa!
onto trucks, and dumped into a field. Then it's mixed with food scraps, leaves, and grass. Machines churn the mix into long steaming piles that slowly start to rot. And inside, the heat climbs to over 150 degrees,
What?
breaking everything down.
heck?
After a few months, the
Breaking
paper
the money?
fibers are completely gone,
Oh.
leaving behind dark, nutrient-rich compost known as black gold. And that
Black
compost
gold?
is spread across farms
the
and
heck?
gardens, growing vegetables out of cash.
Okay,
To
that's
dampen-
just crazy. Yo, that's just crazy. Let me see this comment, bro. Money grows on trees. X, no. Trees grow from money. Yo, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yo, it has 20K likes. That's crazy. Okay, let me like this video.
Cash,
Or
the
this
frog
short.
flexes its foot, which tears the
What?
tips of the toe bones out of
Oh
place.
my God.
Then its tendons pull it downwards until it rips
Yeah.
through its skin. With a few kicks, it can slice
Oh my
straight
God.
through the predator's skin.
Whoa,
And when the fight is over,
okay.
the claws eventually fall back into place. After the skin heals over, the sharp claws are hidden again, at least until the next time they're needed. The frog flexes its. If you smack the cold bottle down, the water inside will suddenly freeze. Now this happens when you take If you smack the cold bottle down,
Okay.
the water inside will suddenly freeze. Now this happens when you take pure water in a smooth bottle and put it in a freezer until it drops below freezing temperature. You see, the water needs something like a scratch in the plastic or a speck of dust in order to form ice crystals. And without these, the molecules will just stay in their liquid form. But as soon as you smack the bottle against the table, it moves the molecules around, which finally triggers them to form into crystals.
Okay, is that
If
really?
you smack the
is that really cap? Is that cap? No, that actually might be a cap. That might actually be cap. I don't really believe in that. Or maybe.
Right as you swing, the board suddenly becomes indestructible, meaning the nail bends. But if the nail was also indestructible, then the hammer would bounce right off. Now, imagine the hammer becomes indestructible too. The force of the swing would go into your arm. But what if your body became indestructible as well, and you swung the hammer down close to the speed of light? Well, instead of the nail going in, all that energy would be released, likely creating a blinding flash and a massive shockwave, vaporizing everything around it except the hammer, nail, board, and you. If you saw off a cow's horn, you'll see a hollow space that runs all the way into the skull, where it splits into several sinus chambers. And because the horn is
Or
now
maybe you can cook up some steak with that. Maybe when you cut off that, they get hurt. And when they hurt, you can just kill them. And then you get some ground beef. Get it? Because it died. Okay. That's not the real
bacteria can enter, infecting those chambers and filling them with waste. So a vet will drill a hole directly into the skull and flush large amounts of fluid through it, washing out the bacteria and waste inside. If you saw off, the tooth pushes out from the gum.
Why are there so many animal ones, bro? Why, bro?
The tooth pushes out from the gum and never stops growing until it curls around like a hook, digging straight into the skull. You see, a rabbit chews on rough grass every day, and this wears its teeth down as fast as they grow. But when it eats less grass, the teeth slowly grow crooked. So the ones that touch stay short, while the others grow on and on, until the rabbit can't eat. So a vet has to file them down before they grow long again.
But what if it's a wild rabbit And you don't know that happened. And then it just dies, bro. Poor
If you
rabbit.
try to draw a giant circle like this, it will always be imperfect.
That's
Instead,
not even
stand
perfect.
so your shoulder lines up with the center.
Of
Then
course,
extend your
I
arm
know that
fully
one,
and touch
yo.
the chalk to
I
the
learned that
side of
from
where
Ben
the circle
Azel.
will be.
Yo, that's easy work. Yo, like everybody knows that. Come on. Comment if you know this trick, guys. Because I know it. Because I learned it from a Ben Azelart short.
Keeping your elbow straight and your wrist steady. Now
Yuck.
sweep your arm around
I'd
that
like to
center
test
point,
that, though.
letting your shoulder act as
so
the
cool.
pin and your arm as the radius. The steadier your shoulder stays, the closer you get to a perfect circle, leaving the
Yup.
entire class in disbelief.
Yeah.
If you try to draw a giant circle, she placed out her hand and the bumblebee crawled inside. She took it home, named it Beatrice.
I mean, bumblebees, like, they can make you, like, get, like, swollen, but, like, it's not like wasps or anything. Like, yesterday, wasp in Mauritius at the hotel. I'm not at the hotel right now. I'm at my grandparents' house. But yesterday, when I was at the hotel, I saw, like, a wasp, and, like, it came so close to me. I was scared,
and built a small enclosure for the
Whoa.
bee. And that's when she
Why don't
noticed
you
the bee's
close
wing
it?
had been damaged, meaning it would never
I
fly
see
again.
that.
But day after day, when she looked in, Beatrix was still moving. The bee started climbing all around the woman, as if it trusted her. Beatrix would run around the house. Then, when the woman sat down, she would climb onto her hand and stay there while she watched movies. And for 12 days, the two became friends. When Beatrix eventually died, it was in the hands of the woman who saved her. She placed out an octopus
That's
wraps
sad.
its arms around your bumper. Then a second octopus grabs onto the first one, while wrapping its other arms tightly around a metal
Yo,
pole
octopus
behind it. Now, each arm is covered in
Yo,
hundreds
why
of
does he have the Zack D Films logo or like Zack D Films text? Like in every video, like everywhere.
suckers.
And I wonder how he even makes these videos, like how he makes animation, like I wonder how he makes that, bro. I wonder.
that form tight seals against surfaces. And one large sucker alone can pull with around 10 pounds of force. So when the driver hits the gas, the suckers work together to hold on to the car. Meaning the car isn't fighting one point of contact,
car-
it's pulling against
Oh,
hundreds of
that's
suckers at
okay.
once, all
Why did
spreading
you
the
have
force
that car in this video when it's 2026, bro? It's July. Come on.
across the octopus's arms, and if enough of those suckers keep their seal, their combined grip could beat the traction on the tires, stopping the car. Cut two boards at 45-degree angles and glue them together.
Whoa,
Once it sets, cut two thin
Yo,
slots
that is
across the
satisfying.
outside
That's
of the
pretty
corner. Now glue thin wooden strips into those slots
That
so
is
they
pretty
bridge across
satisfying.
both sides of the joint. Once the glue
Wood
dries,
is-
trim the strips flat and sand everything smooth, leaving thin wooden strips across the corner, making it much harder to break apart. Cut
I don't
two,
know what they're
place the
making.
dollar underneath a bottle like this. Now challenge someone to pull the bill out without tipping the bottle, which they'll obviously fail to do. To actually win, start rolling the edge of the bill inward, feeding it under the bottle. This will nudge it slightly instead of it being yanked, and the bottle moves forward in small controlled steps
That is
until
cool,
you
yo.
become
That-
a legend.
Whoa!
Place
That
the
is
dollar
great.
underneath a bottle.
Zack D Films, you actually cooked on this one, yo. Let me like this, bro. Yo, bro, doing that iconic meme from 2020. Zack knows his memes well.
Pinch the bone at the end and twist it back and forth. You see, the bone is wrapped in meat and connected by soft cartilage at the joint. But when you twist it, you're breaking those tiny connections loose, and it slides straight out. Next, grab the bone beside it and twist it in the same way until it pops free. This leaves 2 empty channels running through the meat where the bones used to be. Now, dip the whole thing in ranch and enjoy your boneless bite. Pinch the bone at the end and twist it back and forth. You see, the bone is wrapped in meat and connected by soft cartilage at the joint. But when you twist it, you're breaking those tiny connections loose. The oil sprayed the penguins, and as it soaked through their feathers, it allowed the cold to seep in. As the penguins tried to clean themselves, they swallowed some of the oil, which eventually
damn.
He killed them. So volunteers started knitting tiny sweaters, which kept them warm while they waited to be washed. It also
What? What kind of video is this, Zack D films?
stopped them from cleaning themselves and even soaked up some of that oil, meaning most of them were saved thanks to the tiny sweaters. Keep your hands close together. Then rest your index and middle fingers along the top. Now extend your thumb and squeeze, creating gaps between the claws. As you increase the pressure, they slip from your thumb one at a time, shooting into your other hand, which you'll need to curl into a claw with your pinky blocking the bottom edge. Then keep the squeeze slow and steady, and with enough practice, you can work your way up to a full deck. Keep your hands close. Fold a strip of paper into a square tube before making 3 more. Now make thinner strips for the claws, cut them into long pointed blades, and slide each one between the tubes. Then connect the back ends, so all 3 claws move together. Now connect the tubes together and add a small wall at the front, so the claws can slide out completely, and attach rubber bands from the front to the back strip. So when you pull the claws back, the bands stretch and store energy. Then add a small paper lock and attach it to a ring so you can pull it with your finger. And once you release it, the bands snap the claws forward. Fold a strip of paper into a square tube before snap the claws forward.
Zack D film, of course.
He gave him the handbook, but the cover.
Look, Zack D films again, bro. On the present here. Oh my god, bro.
But the cover had a key that matched the actual master key for the prison. So one man used his jewelry making tools to craft a perfect copy, and he passed it to someone who could reach the lock. But it didn't fit. So he passed it back to be filed down, and they repeated this process until the key finally turned. Then they ran out and climbed over 3 fences to freedom. But they were both caught days later, and after changing the locks, the prison took away the handbook for good. He gave him
that's like, bro. That is kind of W teamwork. Like, if I would be on Team Evil, if I wanted to escape prison, I mean, I would like to do that if I was in prison, but like, if I do it, be smart, guys. If you're in prison, and you're like there for like 12 days or something like that, you're stuck there, nothing to do, just read random books, boring books, and then you want to get out. Well, if you get out, you're going to spend more time in prison. So be smart like Street Can, yo. Be smart like me.
The ships enter a concrete chamber below before steel gates close at both ends, sealing it. Then valves open and water flows in from concrete tunnels on the walls. And as the water level rises, it lifts the ship up. Then the front gates open and the ship moves into the next chamber, and the process repeats, raising it step by step until it's been lifted 85 feet above sea level, where it crosses a lake cut through the jungle. Then the same system runs in reverse, draining water to lower it back down, allowing the ships to pass from one ocean to the other without having to go around. The ships enter a concrete chamber.
That is
He slipped off a 10th floor windowsill and was left hanging from the ledge as people screamed below. 2 nurses saw him from the street, and one ripped off her coat to catch him. But a man rushed over, knowing one person couldn't hold it tight enough. So they stretched the coat between them like a net. Then the toddler
like I shall speed, like he fell on that. He was supposed to do like a thing in like Africa, I think, and maybe in Zimbabwe or something like that. I don't know if he has been there, or Botswana or something like that. Somewhere in Africa, in South Africa, I think, in the forest. And then he dropped down. He had like a thing that holds him, and then he fell down in the net.
Lost his grip. He slammed into the coat so hard it tore the lining before dropping into the snow underneath. But somehow he survived.
Snow, bruh.
He slipped off a 10th floor windowsill and was left hanging from the ledge. When someone gambles and wins, their brain releases a chemical that feels really good. The same one that fires when eating candy. But the brain releases even more when a win feels uncertain, because it's trying to guess when the next one might hit. The problem is, there's no real pattern to find. And a loss that feels close to a win still gives the brain a rush. Each near miss makes it feel like the win was right there. And one more try could be the one, making it really hard to walk away. When someone gambles and wins, he was abandoned by his mother as a baby, so he was given a stuffed orangutan to hold on to. He brought it everywhere with him, and whenever the other monkeys pushed him around, he ran right back to it, cuddling with it like it was his mother. After videos of him went viral, dozens of...
who recorded that, bro? Zack D Films, bro. Zack D Films truck, bro.
Plushies were sent to the zoo, and soon enough, he started learning how to communicate to the other monkeys, who finally accepted him as one of their own. He was abandoned by his... If you installed a USB port into your...
I've seen this. But
if you installed a USB port into your arm and plugged your phone straight in, would it actually charge because your nerves fire electricity? Well, if you measure the electricity in your skin, it's about 1/1000th of a volt. And your phone needs 5 volts to charge, which is 5,000 times what your body produces. At that rate, a full charge would take 2 million years. But if you plugged in a watch like this instead, it would take about an hour to power it for only 1 second. If you installed a USB port into your arm and plugged your phone straight in,
USB port. So USB port in your arm roll. That's just crazy. Let me like that. Bro.
When you crack open the giant egg, you might find another whole egg inside, which you can then crack open like normal. You see, this happens because an egg starts with a yolk. Once it's released, it travels through the chicken, and the egg white and shell are formed around it. But if a second yolk is released before the egg gets laid, the first egg can get sucked back up, joining the new yolk. The white and shell are added again, surrounding them both. Now, if 2 new yolks get released at the same time, you could end up with a double yolk egg with an extra fully formed egg inside. When you crack open...
Wait, I actually did not know those yolks, and then it comes... I did not know that,
The prison cells were arranged...
Wait. I learned something from Zack D Films. Thank you for teaching me something. That's fascinating.
The prison cells
I don't know why I'm saying fascinating. Maybe because he does fascinating videos.
The prison cells were arranged in a circle and kept brightly lit. Then they built a tower at the center with windows on every side and dropped in a single guard. The tower was kept in a shadow, hiding the guard from view. This meant he could see the prisoners, but they could not see into the tower. So they never knew when they were being watched, which kept them on edge, unable to tell if the guard had his back turned or was staring right at them. This forced hundreds of prisoners to behave at all times, even with just 1 guard on duty. The prison cells were arranged in a circle and kept brightly. Make a Spider-Man shape and place the card over your bent fingers. Then hold it in place with your thumb while you wrap your pointer and pinky around the edges. Let go with your thumb before straightening out your supporting fingers. Next, replace your pointer with your thumb and slide your pointer under the card while holding the deck in your other hand. Then squeeze your thumb and pinky and put pressure on the card. So when you turn your hand over the deck and release your pinky, the card flips over, landing right on top of the others.
Whoa!
Make a Spider-Man
That is cool. Now that is cool. Let me like
and place the card over your bent. If you try to get a snack, the fridge will lock itself shut as a camera on the door tracks your body and requests that you perform a specific dance. Now, most people would just walk away, but if you do complete the dance, the fridge records the whole thing and sends it to your group chat so your friends can watch you dance for shredded cheese at 2 a.m. Then they vote on whether you deserve the food. And after they all vote no, well, the fridge keeps the door locked while replaying your desperate little dance on screen. If a gorilla pulled the rope against a group of kids, you might think it would send them flying into the air with one yank. But tug of war is actually about how much grip you have on the ground. And if the rope overpowers your footing, you'll start to slide. So, if 10 kids were pulling at the exact same time, each child would put more weight into the ground than the gorilla, and their combined grip would be strong enough to win. But even if one person was out of sync, they would all fall over each other. If a gorilla pulled the rope, place a small nut at the opening of a bottle, then bet someone they can't blow it inside. Now, they'll probably take the bet, but when they blow, the nut pops right back out. You see, the bottle is already full of air, and it rushes back outward, pushing the nut away from the opening. So the harder they blow, the harder the air is forced back out, making the challenge almost impossible to win. Place a small nut at the opening of a bottle. He opened up the Legos and swapped the pieces for dried pasta. He shook it to make sure it rattled right, then he returned it for a full refund. Now, he did this 70 times across multiple states, costing the stores about $34,000. Until one day, he returned 2 boxes, and the store noticed they had been opened. Police searched his home and found 2 garbage bags full of stolen Legos, eventually arresting him for grand theft. He opened up the Lego. They inserted 2 wedges on the sides, with a center spacer between them. Then they slid a bolt through the pieces and hooked it to a crane before starting the lift. As the stone pulled downward, the center spacer was pulled tight between the wedges, forcing the side pieces inward into the narrow top of the hole, where they jammed tightly against the stone. So the more weight the crane took, the harder the wedges pressed outward, locking the grip even tighter, letting a single hidden slot lift tons of solid stone. They inserted, if you mark a line on the mirror for the top of your forehead and the bottom of your chin, you might think that by walking backwards, your reflection will get smaller and smaller, so the lines stop matching. But when light hits the mirror and bounces back, it creates a triangular path with proportions that never change. So when you step away, your reflection actually does look smaller, but so does the mirror. Meaning, no matter how far back you go, your reflection will stay the same size in the mirror. If you mark a line on the mirror for the top, he slipped on the roof. If you mark a line, he slipped on the roof as he tried to grab the cat, falling in a gap between the houses. As he struggled to escape, he got wedged in further until he was completely stuck in a space less than a foot wide. Now, the neighbors tried to pull him out, but couldn't get him free without causing him pain. So firefighters covered the boy in cooking oil, which made him slippery enough to pull along the wall until he was finally set free. He slipped on the roof as he tried. The cracker is locked inside a steel chamber, which is then filled with pure oxygen and lowered into a container of water. Then an electric wire ignites the food, causing it to burst into flames inside the chamber. As it burns, most of its energy is released as heat, which warms the surrounding water. And the more calories the food has, the more heat it releases, and the warmer the water gets. Scientists run it through a calculation, and it turns into the calorie number on your label. The cracker is locked inside a steel chamber. Hold a piece of spaghetti like this and bend it until it breaks near the center, releasing a snapback wave that vibrates through the stick. This wave builds enough stress that cracks it into 3 or more pieces instead of 2. So instead,
Of course. Oh,
hold
No, what? Okay.
slowly bend it. The twist makes the stick unwind, which moves faster than the snapback and releasing energy before more cracks can form.
Oh,
When a wombat poops, the turd is actually cube-shaped, and because it poops around
Oh, ew. Oh my
100 times a day, if you stack just
disgusting,
1 day's worth, you would get a cube about 5 inches tall. But if you had about 9 million wombats, and they kept pooping every day for a full year, well, you would end up with over 300 billion poop cubes, just enough to make your own Great Pyramid of Giza.
Oh my god.
When a wombat poops, crease the dollar bill both ways. Then bring the top corners inward so they meet at the center line. Now unfold the bill and turn it over before folding those same corners again. Unfold it and push the center inward until it forms a pointed shape. Then flatten it down and bring both sides toward the point. Then tuck the corners inward. Hold the center while you pull the sides apart, and as it opens up, press the middle flat. Then leave it on the table, looking like a fancy tip, even though it's just $1. Crease the dollar. When you place your left hand on the pad, and your opponent does the same, a ball bounces back and forth on the screen, while you control a paddle with your right hand. But if you lose the point, and it hits a pain symbol, a small whip strikes your hand. The pad can also release heat and electricity with each point missed. And the game only ends when someone pulls their hand away, turning the whole thing into a test of endurance. When you place your left hand, if you stuck a hose into your basement, it would fill up after a few days. After that, you would have to mix in over 15,000 pounds of salt with giant machines to keep the water safe. Then you could fit in hundreds of fish and a few small sharks. But it would quickly fill up with fish poop, which makes it unsafe to live in, while the water would push against the walls and floor, rusting the house's supports and leaking through the concrete. Soon enough, the damage would be so extreme that your house could collapse directly on your homemade aquarium. If you stuck, he knocked on the customer's door, and when she didn't answer, he started to walk away. But he had a feeling that something was very wrong. The
Okay, that's crazy.
TV was still on inside, and so were the lights. So he checked the window one last time, where he saw the woman lying on the floor. You see, she had diabetes, and her blood sugar had crashed way too low, making her faint. So he called for an ambulance, and she survived, all because he trusted his instinct. He knocked on the customer. If you grew 4 times bigger, you might think you could leap over houses or shove cars out of your way. But it would actually take much longer for your nerve signals to travel through your body. So you would react slower and move like you were in slow motion. And when you scale up like that, your body doesn't just get 4 times heavier, it gets over 60 times heavier because your volume increases in every direction. But your bones don't scale the same way, meaning taking a few steps could fracture your bones, and your spine could collapse under your own weight.
Why
If you
did it
grew
look
4 times, the beetle is impaled on the thorn before its head is torn off by the bird, which rips it apart to eat it. Now, if it's a poisonous bug, the bird will leave it out for a few days, and as it slowly dries up, the poison inside breaks down until the bird can eat it safely. During colder seasons, it might even save up an entire collection on the bush, while it keeps an eye out from nearby, ready to defend its territory from other birds so it could survive the long winter.
Okay. Guys, this was actually fun, yo. Shout out to Zack D Films, yo. He makes great videos. Fortunately, this is now we're gonna stop the video because we've been recording maybe for 25 minutes or 30 minutes or so. Wait, a collection of things I find interesting. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I guess so. Wait, I want to see when he joined YouTube, bro. He's got so many views. 2021. June 8th, 2021. That's crazy. ZackDFilms.com research. Wait, what? Background.com. Wait, what? Okay, but if you enjoyed me reacting to Zack D Films right here, the GOAT of educational or whatever, and fascinating stuff, interesting stuff, and yep. If you enjoyed it, of course, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. See you soon, guys. Peace. We out.